Hey, everybody, Dave Finale here, and welcome to TGIF. Welcome to Real Estate Talk, TGIF, episode 114. Yep, 112 weeks in a row, 114. You're saying, why are you sitting there all by yourself? Well, I'm not. We got an extra special show today. It's International Day. We're talking with people north of the border of the United States and people in the United States. We're going to talk about what's going on in the real estate market, what's going on in the real estate world, what's going to happen. So here we go.
Real estate agent, are you looking to acquire clients consistently so you can grow your business and your income to live a great lifestyle? This is Dave Finale and the RE Skill Builder podcast.
Well, here we are. I did it. I think I sorted it properly. Well, actually, Canada should have been on top because they're above us. But you know what? Since I'm always going to be on top, I had to make sure that the United States was on top. Anyway, here we are. Whatever that means, right?
God.
So as I said, we're at Real Estate Talk, TGIF, episode 114. And does anybody know what TGIF stands for?
Something about, the finality of things. What?
Thank God it's finale.
That would be an I, but I'll use that, okay? It means thank God it's finale. Yes, it's Friday, but it works. It's thank God it's finale. I'm Dave Finale. And what we're going to do, guys, is basically we're going to talk about what's going on in the real estate world all over North America, right? Well, I guess not south of the United States, but in the United States and north to see what's going on. So without further ado, I want to introduce everybody who's going. We've got, and we're going to go around, everybody talk about themselves for 30 seconds. From the United States, we have Sekou, Pyle, who's going to talk about the inner city. We've got Josue and Rebecca Soto from Florida. They're going to talk about what's going on in the rural worlds of the United States. And then from Canada, we have Cheryl Easton, who's going to talk about the rural areas, right?
Yes, ma'am.
We have James Lewis, who's going to talk about the city. And then we have David Greenspan from Mindshare 101. He is going to help me moderate his people. I'm going to moderate my people. Why? It doesn't matter.
You did
the
Geneva Convention. That's why he was
We're going to be
here.
all David in the bookends here. So anyway, I want to start with the real estate market. I want to talk about what's going on in the real estate market. But first, as I said, let's go around the horn, introduce ourselves. Quick 30 seconds on who you are. Sekou, we'll start with you.
Hey, man, I'm Sekou Pyle. I am the growth director for the DeVoe Group at EXP. Monster Agency, Monster Agents, specializing in the vertical market. I don't know, man, do over 300 transactions a year, $200 or so million worth of business. And we have our fingers on the pulse of when people move from other areas of the country to New York, they find that the lifestyle may be a little too expensive for their brand new jobs. So they wind up settling in this Hudson County region right along the Hudson River. It never stops. We're the first to recover from any downturn and the last to feel any bubble. Right. There you
go. Let's go to Josue and Rebecca Soto. Let's hear from you guys. Where are you at and what are you all about?
All right. Well, I'm Rebecca Soto.
Josue Soto.
And we work as a real estate team. We are with EXP Realty and we run the Soto Legacy Group. And newly Icon Agents hasn't been announced yet, but you guys are hearing it here first. And what else? What else can we say about us? I'm born and raised in Florida. What's that?
Where in Florida are you?
We are in Orlando, Florida.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we run a team here in Orlando, Florida. We have other
expansion
teams in the state of Florida, and yeah, man, we're excited to be on your show.
Awesome, man. Hey, James Lewis, your turn, man. Tell us about yourself and where you're at.
All right, my name is James Lewis Malonis. I am a real estate agent with Johnson & Daniel, the luxury division of Royal LePage. I specialize in the downtown condo market. Like when I say downtown, everyone gets confused. The city of Toronto, which in my world is the center of the universe. And like Sekou had said, we're the last to feel any kind of issues. I'm not going to look at David's Maple Leaf because I just can't handle, the Toronto make me laughs. And Cheryl's roasting me here with Toronto sucks, but she loves when she comes to the city and enjoys all my pretty lights. But like Sekou said, We are kind of like the last market to really feel any economic shift just because of how hot our city actually is. And we have, other than this year, a ton of immigration flocking to the city.
Wow. Okay. Cheryl, Easton, where are you at? What do you do? What's it all about?
What do I do? What don't I do? So obviously my name is Cheryl, and I am from Bancroft, Ontario, Canada, mineral capital of Canada. We have a very rich mining heritage here, as well as tourism and forestry. It's also cottage country, one of a few in the province of Ontario, each with different gradients as far as price points go. And I love what I do, and I'm very customer focused. The client, that's how I drive my business, and it's I think it's why I do what I do. I'm so happy to have my great friends James and David here. I'm so glad they agreed to come. David, David. I love him, but just tolerate him, okay? He'll be okay.
So next we want to go over to Mr. David Greenspan. Tell us about you and who you are, where you are, and what you do, man.
What's going on? I don't even think I need to introduce myself. My friends have done such a good job at that, including my friend Cheryl over there. But no, I'm Finale. I'm definitely excited to be here, man. Thank you for the introduction. I'm with Cheryl and James. These are my good friends. Sekou. Always a pleasure chatting with you, and to you folks, the Sotos. It's very nice to meet you both, and I'm excited to get into conversation. But what do I do? Bottom line, I help realtors transform and expand their real estate business. We do that through a series of coaching and consulting, as well as a kick-ass marketing platform. So you can learn more at mindshare101.com. You can connect with me on all the social medias and on my website. By all means, please reach out if you got questions. At the same time, too, we've got an event coming up starting on September 8th, which I should share with everybody. Check it out at www.themsc101.com. And use promo code SAVE200, save $200. You can learn all the details. If you got questions, let me know. But again, the idea is to help you take advantage of your fall market and make a lot of money. So that's what I'm up to.
So I just want everybody to know that all the shameless plugs will cost you $500 a piece if you're interested. Just understand that. We are now a sponsored broadcast. Next week we start our sponsorships.
It's hashtag Mindshare101, Cheryl, not hashtag shameless.
Anyway, it's very shameless. So I want to start. I'm going to start with James, because James right now, and then
David's running so fast
because it just makes sense, right? James, talk to us about what changed in Toronto. What changed in Toronto because of this pandemic?
Okay, so we have been a seller's market since 2015. And if you are a freehold property, detached townhouse, semi-detached, you are still in a seller's market. July 31st came and went. August 1st, our downtown Toronto condo market has become a buyer's market.
Really?
Yes. Literally overnight, our condos have turned into a buyer's market. And it sucks for me because I am 96% condos, and it has now turned into buyer central. There's too many options. You can't get a deal put together. Buyers are picky, because people want more space. The only condos that we see that are actively trading are things in the Shangri-La, the St. Regis, the Four Seasons, some of our other luxury large brand, because people are actually getting 2,000-3,000 square foot of space in a condo versus your typical 500 square foot one bedroom.
So let me ask you a question. How is inventory with all that in Toronto? How is inventory?
I mean, every building has upwards of 10 units listed right now.
So would you say the inventory is like there's 3 months of inventory, 4 months of inventory, a month of inventory?
I would probably say 6 to 8 weeks of inventory.
Okay, almost 2 months. Okay, because we're talking about 1 to 2 weeks here.
Generally, our condos are gone in 7 days.
Right. Interesting. 7 days. Great. Sekou, I want you to combat that, not combat that, but counter that with what's going on in New York City, Hoboken, that area, just to talk apples to apples here. Talk to me about that.
So I am a bit of a maverick here. People will say that it's a buyer's market or a seller's market. I am the voice of this is a real estate market. This is a realtor's market. This is an actual natural market. There is just enough inventory to be seller focused, and there are just enough buyers out there to be buyer focused. So although things are going for multiple bids all the time, every single listing has multiple bids on it. So let me be clear. So naturally, folks would say it was a seller's market. However, the multiple bids are taking them just over asking. It's not like they're going 10, 15, 20% over asking. They're going 1 to 5% over asking, which is a nice little cushion because in a normal market, it's between 95 and 105% of asking, right? So we are having an interesting storm here. I'm not going to say it's the perfect storm. We're having an interesting storm here where no one knows this market.
That's right.
The agents, the buyers, and the sellers, no one is comfortable with this market. No one knows what's going on. Everyone wants to move. We just spent the last 6 months locked in our houses, and you realize that you don't have enough bathrooms to get away from your kids or your spouse. And, you know, you don't like the color of the walls, and no one can come out and paint. And so the only thing that people have been doing for the last 3 months, at least, has been searching through the internet for a better place to live. Everyone wants a backyard. Everyone wants to actually move away from the city where it's hundreds of people locked in a building together, having to share an elevator. There is no 6 feet of space in a 2.5 foot elevator. So what I'm noticing is that the exodus is away from the city into the suburbs. The folks that live in the suburbs are like, well, if you're moving away from the city, I can take advantage of what I wanted all this time and get an apartment in the city. So it's this really weird sort of storm happening back and forth between the city and the suburbs. And I'll be really, really 100. Our vertical market is moving down to Josue and Rebecca's market. They're coming from New York, New Jersey, and moving down to Florida. It's been awesome. Now, here's what's really funny. James in the city, right? James is saying that, you know, usually they get a lot of immigration into their city and people moving. Well, what I'm noticing is that New York, as an example, is a magnet for employment, right? You come to New York from like Ohio or something like that, and you're coming from a 5-figure job into a high 6-figure job. And so you have to find properties that matches your lifestyle. Well, because we're telecommuting more now, people are moving to where they want to be, not where they have to be.
Right.
And so what I'm finding is if we are more flexible as agents and not so centric, not so urban centric or suburban centric, if we're more flexible as agents, we're finding a lot more transactions. We're finding a lot more movement and capability. Right. So that's where I'm at. And I'm doing most of my stuff virtually. So I can be here. I can be in Florida. I can be anywhere. It's calling me, baby.
I think that's a really great trend that we're going to see. We'll talk about a little bit later. But I want to go over to Josue and Rebecca Soto, since, you know, Sekou gave me a great segue into you guys talking about what's going on from before you answer the question of what's going on from the migration from here to there, like the condo buildings of New York City and those big things down to you where there's more spread out. I want you to also think about, is anybody moving back because they weren't able to see their families? I've seen a lot of that. I talked to Greg Harrelson in Myrtle Beach, and he said that's what was happening there. What are you guys seeing as far as migration to and out of where you're at?
I'm going to say that we've seen a larger trend of people coming down. Right. I personally have not seen a migration of people leaving here. I think especially, you know, during these COVID times, people want to have space. People, if you're going to be confined to your house, you're already overpaying for a small space in the city, you want to come down. You're going to get more bang for your buck. You're going to have a lot of green space. You're going to have that pool in the backyard, and that's what they are looking for. Everyone that I've got from the north coming down, they want that 4-bedroom house. They want all their kids to have their own bedrooms, especially because what's happening now? Kids are going back to school, and they have to do homeschool, virtual school. So So now they need space for that as well. So now you really do need to be stuck in a condo is kind of tough, right? So they're coming down here, they're looking at their options and wanting to get that large house, and they want it all. They don't come here looking for something small. They want as much as they can get. So that's the trend that I have seen. And I'll let Josh share a little bit as well.
Yeah, that's exactly just like Rebecca had mentioned in Sekou. You know, when you look at destinations and migration destinations, Florida's number one right now.
Sir.
And that's according to NAR, by the way.
That's according to NAR. Second is California, and third is Texas. You wonder why? Land. They want space now. You know, with this COVID thing, let's be honest, we don't even know how long this is going to drag on.
Listen, on that top 5 list, if you were talking about the top 5 destinations, this is NAR's 2020 report that was just released. New Jersey somehow got in there too.
Yeah.
We got a little bit of room.
New Jersey's in the top 5.
We got a little bit of space.
I think if you looked at taxes, California and New Jersey would be at the end.
Yeah. And I tell you right now, since we have our Canadian friends here, actually foreigners, they're Canada's number 2.
Top 5 foreign buyers for Florida.
Yeah, for Florida, Canada's number 2. So I mean, Canada has always been.
Sorry, that's for the United States.
For the United States,
sorry.
but Canada's always been a huge part of Florida community. I'll tell you that right now from the beginning. So, you know, when we're looking at going back to Sekou's message in reference to that everyone is moving here, it is true, honestly, Dave, because we've had several closings this past few months from people from New York and New Jersey. And, you know, my question to them is, okay, can you tell me a little bit about what you're looking for and what's the reason why? You know how, you know, we got to ask them all these questions. And I can tell you this right now, 99.9% is we don't want to deal with this no more.
Yeah.
They want their space.
Yeah.
They'd rather take a pay cut. They'd rather walk away from it. They just want more security, more safety for their children, you know, and honestly, that's the most important thing when you think about it. I think with this homeschooling and all these changes that we're going through right now, I don't see it going away too soon. I'll be honest with you.
And who can't love our sunshine down here in
Yeah.
Florida? I think there was a lot of people who were on the fence because of the weather, and now they're like, you know what? We've been thinking about this. Let's just do it.
You know what? I want to segue from that right to Cheryl, because she lives in a place where summer, it just ended. It was from August 3rd to August 8th. So, you know, I got to go to Cheryl.
Oh my gosh. We are very heavily in summer. Summer seemed to kick in as soon as we were allowed to go back to work. And I'll speak about my market, but I just want to speak to what Jose and Rebecca were talking about, because I actually have clients in this position. So in the past 2 months, I've had 3 clients who all have condos in Florida, but they can't get in. They're Canadian residents. They can't get in to go to their homes, and they have condominiums in Toronto, and they are sick of being in a box and not being able to go anywhere, not to be able to do anything. So they've bought they're full on homes on the water here, but they're like, if we can't go to Florida, we got to get out of the city. And talk about mass migration. We have had that, but very interesting that that the Sotos referred to that, because right now I have your clients, and they are talking about maybe selling, depending on how long this goes on.
Cheryl,
I will know who to refer them to. Sorry, say that again.
What's the inventory situation there?
In my market, I have a very, very, very short supply.
Okay.
We have had a mass migration out of the city. People wanting to come out. They don't want. They want space. They want somewhere for their kids to be.
Right.
As soon as our premier, sort of like your governor, announced that the kids were going back to school in September, immediately that day I got 6 calls saying, Cheryl, get us out of here. We know now that we can work remotely. We know now that we do not want to be here in another lockdown if it comes, and we want some space for our kids and for the family. And if we have to go into the city, commute into the city once a week, then that's okay with us. And so that plays into James's point about how he has this like his condo market has just dropped because all those people in those condos are coming to me.
Yeah.
So, the roads end here. But as far as my my inventory, it's very, very short. As fast as it comes on, it goes, especially if it's waterfront or like 3-4 bedroom residential on a nice lot. People want to get on the water if they can. And they're selling, further to Sekou's point, we are not 1% above. We are 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% above. Classic story. We had in my market here in the Bancroft area, we had a classic cottage, seasonal Canadian cottage, $399,000 on a nice lake. It sold in multiple offer for $605,000 cash.
Yeah,
cash.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's worth it. If I gotta sit in this bathroom and hear people knock on my door one more damn day, I'm gonna go crazy. So I'll pay an extra $500,000 for an extra bathroom right now.
But it's a little bit scary because, how long are they going to have to, as a realtor, again, being customer focused, how long is my client going to have to sit on that for the market to catch up? For the valuation to catch up? That's a little concerning for me. If they're in it for the long haul, then fine. If we don't see a downturn, they'll be fine. Because our market is one of the more reasonably priced, like more at market value price markets left in Ontario.
What are the rentals like up there?
The rentals?
Yeah. If you had to rent the property out.
Rent a cottage, like a cottage on water. Yeah. If at 3 bedrooms, just think for the number of bedrooms is $1,000. So if it's a 3 bedroom, it's $3,000 a week.
So with a $600,000 purchase, the mortgage should be around $3,500 or something like that.
About that, yeah.
So so if they had to move, you could turn around and rent it out, and they should be okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
So let's take the conversation over to Mr. Greenspan. I want you to take everything that everybody said, put it all together, and see what you think should be happening as far as what real estate agents should be doing with their businesses, et cetera, and what the trend looks like today. Not what it is, but what it looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and when we look at, what's been going on to what everybody's saying about that migration, and Cheryl and I've had many sidebars about this. I want a big piece of land, even James, I want a massive piece of land. I don't want to see any of my neighbors. I want to have all the bedrooms for the kids. I want to have the lake in front of me, and I just need a good internet connection. And quite frankly, I don't need to be in the city anymore. Yeah. Now, because my kids are young and, they're involved in sports and stuff like that, it makes it a little bit tougher to move. But, we are seeing that, and we have been hearing about that in the media, that a lot of the folks are looking at that entire situation and saying, hey, we can make that move. When we talk about prices skyrocketing, James, what did that little house go for yesterday?
Yeah, so it was literally a dump, like 29 feet wide dump of a bungalow.
It wasn't even that wide, that little tiny little thing, right? How many square feet was that?
Here's the thing. It's prime location, right? I mean, your steps to one of the largest parks in Toronto, and it was listed at $1 million, sold for $1.8 million. Everyone in the suburbs is freaking out. The market, oh my God, Toronto, you're crazy, you're this, you're that. Some developer's going to buy that, tear it down, build something that's 25 feet wide, 3 stories, completely modern, and sell it for $3.5 million. Hello, who wouldn't do that?
Yeah.
It's wild what's happening. But here's the thing, and when we look ahead to what the opportunities are, right? And we've already said it on this call, right? We're looking at, are the kids going to be going back to school? And although the school boards, at least up here, are saying, yes, we're going back, it's going to be a little bit delayed, we're going to be a little bit staggered. There's a lot of folks that are still sensitive to that entire situation, and rightfully so. Every to each their own. No opinions made on that. The fact that people are sensitive to it, though, not everybody's going back. So now we're going to look at factors ahead of us like school, like unemployment. We know our unemployment rates are higher than they've been since 1976, at least up here north of the border, which is not good. If kids are not going back to school, unemployment rises. We also know up here that they had mortgage deferrals that they said, okay, and our big banks back in March said, look, we're going to help you out for the next 6 months. 6 months has come and gone. September is our 6 months. So the banks, who are also a business, are going to be going, it's time to pay.
Yep.
People are not going to necessarily have the money to pay. So now we're going to look at these factors of going, again, kids not going back to school. People cannot get back to work the way they normally should have. They're not making the money they should have. Banks are saying, hey, give us our mortgages. All of a sudden, what are we faced with? In our industry, we're faced with an opportunity.
Yep.
You see, this is the moment, and Dave and Sekou and James, Cheryl, like we talked about this stuff for the past number of months, right? Get out there, reach out to people, connect with your database, reach out and just check in, build your relationships. Well, now we're coming back to that entire thing and saying, okay, it's time to continue to build relationships, like never stop. But what's the call about? Well, now the call's a business call. It's not checking in to see how's the family doing. It's not checking in to see, hey, how are you coping? How are you staying busy? Now it's a moment to call somebody and genuinely ask them how they're doing. Genuinely find out if they may potentially need to refi. Genuinely find out if they may need to downsize. Genuinely find out if maybe it's time to get the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah.
And now you look and go, this is where we in the industry have this opportunity to really take trusted advisor status and grow even, grow exponentially and just say, Sekou, man, like, you guys good? Yeah, we're good. No, seriously, like, what's the plan for the fall?
Yes.
You know what? We're having a little bit of trouble with this. Wonderful. And maybe all you're going to be doing is being a bridge between, you, the agent, and let's say the mortgage broker loan officer to say, let me make an intro. Let me help you with that. And this is, again, the relationship build, right? So that's the opportunity I'm seeing right now. I believe there's a lot of money to be made in these coming sort of 30, 60, 90 days for our industry. There's a lot. Just
David,
David,
let me before you ask that question, Finale. Let me say this. I've been saying to agents the last 3 to 4 months that this is a professional market. This is not the market for the amateur. So when you're calling the FSBO, when you're calling the person that couldn't get sold, instead of calling up being like, please, sir, can I have some more? You're calling with that idea of, okay, what's the plan here? What are you doing to match the professional in this market? How much are you spending in order to get your property sold so that you're not sitting on this property on the next round of downturns, not in the next downturn, in the next round of downturns? So I 1000% agree with you.
Loyalty is something that is hard to come by these days, right? Especially with our new breed of people, right? Trust in this market, though, trust is going to trump everything.
Right.
Dave, did you really quarantine? Are you really okay to come and see my house right now? Do you really know that person? Can you really take care of me? Now, am I going to ask you those questions? Or am I just going to ask them in my mind? And either going to instinctively say, you're the guy or the gal, or I'm going to say, hey, thanks for the call.
You want to know
Sekou,
I'm probably.
Sekou, I love what you're saying about that. Sorry, Dave. I just got to jump in. I'm finding that this market is really separating the wheat from the chaff, if you want to say, as far as agents go in their professionalism. We've got this run on the market, if you want to call it. And agents are behaving with that. They're seeing these, wildly overpriced properties, and all they're seeing is dollar signs, and they're forgetting about the client, and they're doing whatever they can to get that. Just quick story, case in point. I have a financial professional that I deal with almost all the time, and she called me the other day, and she said, Cheryl, she said, how many people are coming to you without conditions on their purchase and can't buy? And I said, well, I qualify all my people. They're fine. And she shared with me that in the past month, she's had 12 people sign a no condition offer with no ability to purchase.
Damn.
No ability to purchase. I said, so what? Like everybody's going into breach of contract? And she said, no, it's not until they talk to me that they find out that if they breach the contract, the seller's going to sue them for the entire amount that they purchased it for, and then turn around and sell it again. Realtors are not educating their clients. They're chasing the money.
No.
And this time is a time to come, like David was saying, it's going to be the difference between the realtor who shines and looks out for their client, or the realtor who's chasing the money and who is dropping their morals and their standards. Sorry, David.
And Cheryl, to that, sorry guys, go 5-10 years down.
Yeah,
on the next opportunity to work with that person, are they coming back to you, or are they going, you just about threw me. You just about broke me, or you might have broken me, right? Like you're not getting that deal again.
Absolutely, and the case in point, those people are having to sell their homes in Toronto just to be able to buy the cottage here.
Yeah,
because they do not have the money.
So with what's going on in Toronto, let's shift it all the way over to James. And ask James, with everything that's been said, come back to me and talk to me. We talked about inventory, right? We talked about things that are selling. We talked about it being a buyer's market, right? But but don't you believe that there's a separation between, agents now? Are you seeing the same separation that we're seeing?
So if you asking this question like early before COVID even was a thing, Toronto's filled with everybody and their mother who's an agent who wanted to make a quick, couple $100,000 a year, because it was that market where you could make really easy money. My last, 6, 7 deals this month have all been with agents that I know. And it's the same agents over and over. I'm showing the same agents listings and their inventory across, because now you're starting to see who true Toronto realtors are. Who is there? You're seeing the top names in luxury have their prominence again. You're seeing proper Toronto buyer agents come into your showings. You're seeing proper Toronto listing agents have, prominence in the marketplace. And all the, part-time Uber drivers and hairdressers and dog walkers and mortgage brokers and anyone else that has their hands in the real estate industry has disappeared, because they just can't service their people. They're gone. They've dried up. They're dinosaurs. See you later. Hasta la vista. And proper Toronto real estate is coming back. And I'm happy.
Let's talk a little bit about that as far as agents. I'm talking about the agent population, right? And it's one thing that I've been saying, that we're going to lose a lot of agents. It doesn't look like we're going to, right? I think we're gaining a lot more agents. But here, in my opinion, guys, what we're going to see is the people going for their licenses now are a lot more serious as far as being a business and a professional than what we had coming into this business over the past, wait for it, 30 years, right? I've seen what's come into this business over the last 30 years. Oh, I'll try real estate, or I'll do this, or I'll do that. They're going to get rolled over and they're going to be gone. I think we're going to have a net increase of 0, where we're going to be replacing people, and we're going to see seriousness. Well, James, will that affect you? Do you agree with what I'm saying? And will that affect you in your market?
I agree and I disagree. Will it affect me? No, because I'm going to throw a little plug to David here. I built solid mindshare in my business. When people think Toronto real estate, they think James in the city. I don't have to fight for my business. So I have, for my American friends, I have 60,000 agents in my market.
Mm-hmm.
We have
your market share is what?
I'm Toronto. I have 60,000 agents in Toronto.
No. What I'm saying is that what's your percentage of market share there? Your business, are you 10%, 7% of the market?
To be honest, I don't even track that.
Okay. That's fair enough.
Just going from the city. So we have 60,000 agents in the city, 80,000 in our province, and we are the largest province. The amount of new agents that are sitting in the real estate college right now to get their license will not affect me, because they won't last. They'll be here for all of 90 days, realize that it's not as easy as it used to be, and they're going to go back to their previous professions.
Yep.
So I want to go from that question over to the Sotos, because the interesting part about the United States is there are almost 1.5 million realtors and that means people that pay dues to the National Association of Realtors. And in Florida alone, there are 330,000 realtors. See, I know I do my work, right? That's 20%, right?
And counting.
And counting.
And counting, right? So tell me, guys, how is that affecting the market down there? But I want you to answer a different way. Number one, how is it affecting the buyers and sellers? And then how is it affecting the industry in your area?
You should take that.
Buyers and sellers.
Yeah,
we're in the sellers market right now, David. Honestly, these sellers are. We brought a couple listings into Sekou's show, and our properties right now, on a 24 hours, we're getting multiple offers on properties. Anything 200 and less, forget it. You're gonna get 14, 15 offers within less than 24 hours. Anything in the 300 to 500s. You're going to get multiple offers in, say, 2 or 3 days.
So the question is: Are the newer agents, are the agents coming into the business affecting buyers and sellers at all, or they're just like not even, they're like being swatted away?
Honestly, right now the new agents that are coming on, I look at it like this. Rebecca and I, when we came into this business, it was in 2006. We all know what happened in 2006.
I was here.
So the way in 2000, late 2005, 2006. So the way we're approaching it with our team is we're telling them what we experience and we want to prep them. Is everyone else is doing it? No. I agree with James with the city. They're not affecting us at all.
I think when you've
You know?
established a brand and you have a reputation, you're always going to have your business there because you already have your clients that come back and refer business to you, and you already know how to market and get continued business, right? For those new agents coming in, I'm seeing some of the struggle is in the branding and, you know, shamelessly plugging, hello, like we were talking earlier. And so some of them have a hard time jumping in. And then some others are like shot out. They're getting business because they're not afraid to open their mouth. I think if you're not afraid to market and to just, you know, get out there and find those clients, there's so many clients right now. So there's a lot of business for everyone. So I think for those who are hungry and those who are driven, they're going to find work, and we're still, you know, doing well. I don't know. Even though we do have a lot of agents, I don't see the clients. I don't know what that question earlier was. If the clients are
affected by the number of agents, and how is your business being affected? No,
affected. Sometimes, you know, everybody knows an agent, but when they see that the agent doesn't know what they're doing, they're quickly looking for an experienced agent.
And that's what it is. That's what we're facing, David, because they're getting some of these non-experienced agents and interviewing them for, like, say, for instance, a listing. They're coming in there just to grab the listing and telling them, oh, this house is worth this. And then they'll bring someone like Rebecca and I in there, and I'm like, if you don't mind me asking you, how did this number come about? Well, this person told me this. I'm like, listen, you know, to be honest with you, I don't want to be the one to tell you the bad news, but they're telling you something just to grab just to get this listing for you to come back 30 days afterwards when the property's not selling, knowing that your property should have sold 2 or 3 days from listing it, coming back to Rebecca and I and asking us why this property didn't sell. And from the beginning, it's because you overpriced it. They overpriced it, you know. And I love Cheryl's message when she said, it's all about customer service, David. Yeah. It really is. Yep. You have to be, you know, we build our business. I was sharing this with Sekou.
Yes,
Rebecca and I, the Soto Legacy Group, we build our business through referrals.
Yes,
our referral database is massive. 90% of our business and our success, I owe it to my clients, my past clients, my future clients. Because we just had a meeting the other day with our teams, and I told them, that one referral that you had to pay 50% on could lead you to 3 other deals that you don't have to pay the 50% on. That's the way you have to think. Because if you take care of that client, guess what? They're going to bring you their mother, their sister, their uncle, everyone else. Cheryl, you touched on that, and it was, I mean, she hit it on the number. Kudos to you. I love that.
And I appreciate that. Sorry, David.
I want to segue that over to James, because James has to walk away from the broadcast in a few minutes. And I wanted to see, just not that I want to change the subject, but I want to talk to James about trends that you're seeing overall and what you're seeing in the city, what you're seeing everywhere. In your opinion, what are you seeing as far as trends 6 to 12 months in advance of it?
I mean, I think let's look at the downtown condo market. Obviously, it's a buyer's market right now. Come September, when people are settled again, it's going to go back to normal. I'm in a hot city, and I like New York City, like LA, like Chicago. Well, Chicago's kind of a hard one to really reference, but I'm going to say Barcelona, Madrid, Athens, Greece. These are hot markets. These are where people want to be because you're downtown city center. So we have good immigration, we have good draw, good restaurants. Like I'm talking world-class cities where you could walk down the street and have breakfast in Shanghai, lunch in Italy, and dinner in Greece without having to leave like a 6-block radius. So we're going to have a flock of people coming back. The condo trend will come back. We're going to see a lot more. I think developers are going to take note of COVID and start building larger 3-bedroom units and scrapping that 700 square foot 2-bedroom, which should become a 1-bedroom, and then building the 3-bedroom units in the 1,600 square foot range without having that $2.7 million price tag.
Yeah. On that point, I want to say that the developers and the architects could be making big changes as far as not only size, but as far as access points. Yeah. Right? We don't have the elevator situation. I mean, I don't know what we're going to do for high rises and mid rises, but I know access points are going to change. I know that's going to change, and they're all trying to figure it out now. So I didn't mean to cut people off. I want to go back to James. I know you have to leave in a minute. I want to thank you so much for being on, and we'll get in touch. I'll have you on the show, just you and me, so we can really get into this. That'd be a lot of fun.
Nice to meet you, James.
You want to But guys, talk to me about trends. What's going on? Sekou, let's go right to you with the trends and what's going on.
Let me do two things. Let me speak on the trends and the effects of the agents in the market, the number of agents in the market, if we can.
Yep.
The agents in the market, the more experienced agents in the market normally would be driving the market. We would be setting prices, we would be setting terms, because we're the big dogs, right? And we know what we're doing, and the new agents coming in would be learning from us. The reality of COVID has changed the dynamic, right? The experienced agents in the market are doing things the way that we used to do things, and we're missing the point on a lot of these transactions.
Yep.
So in the last, I'd say 90 days, I have had probably about 20 to 25 agents that I'm working with tell me that they did a virtual tour, the person wants to buy it, and the agent on the listing side won't submit the offer because they're not comfortable with the person not seeing the place physically. This I'm quoting, and this has happened multiple times with multiple agents, multiple listing agents. And so what I'm noticing is that they're attempting to force the market back into a direction that it's just not going. It would be the equivalent of me wanting to download a movie from Netflix and Netflix telling me that I had to go to the store to go pick up the DVD or the VHS. That they don't do that for this particular movie, right? This movie is too important to do download or something like that. And I will tell you that if the more experienced agent, if the 10, 12, 20 year plus agent can't adapt to the market, then the agents coming in who only know this market will outpace them. So I will say that the effect of the new agents coming in is, in my opinion, the differentiation machine. It's the ability to virtually show, virtually list, virtually offer. It's the ability to speak to David's point, the ability to speak to trust. Who wants to walk into someone's house right now, right? Who needs to go see the place before they know they want to buy it, right? If you can go see the place multiple times before you go put in the offer in a 24-hour period, show it to your entire family, get their opinions, and then go put in an inspection view after you put in the offer, the amount of safety goes up, the amount of trust goes up, and to your point, you get to repeat that process over and over again with people that you've been working with forever. So the trend that I see coming up is the virtual market is going to take over, and if we cannot adapt to it, then we will find ourselves extinct the exact same way that Blockbuster and any other VHS. I don't even have something to play a DVD on right now, right? So so speaking to agents, speaking to more experienced agents, I say if I gave you the entire amount to invest in a brand new Blockbuster, what corner would you put it on?
So I need to take that point. I need to ask you a completely different question along with that point. Okay. One of the things I'm seeing is that there are some companies that lack technology. They're looking for other organizations to sign renewal contracts with them before they lose out to technology. Self-tour.
Yeah.
You all heard of it, right? Where the house is either vacant or there's nobody home, where the agent can unlock the door from another location. Do you think that that is a thing? Do you think that that is going to grow? And what are your thoughts on that? This is something we've never talked about. It's a complete different topic, but I think it's really important to talk about because now there are several companies coming out with these locks that you can open and devices. Centric key, so you got centric key, you got cleared, right? And Super's out of the box. They don't have anything like that. What do you guys think? Anybody?
Well,
I'll jump in.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
I've seen it in our market, and I think it takes a lot away from the real estate agent. But more importantly, how secure is that
Yes.
property? Who are you
Yeah.
letting in there? And even
Yeah.
if it's a vacant house where people are like, well,
Yeah.
it's vacant, but we've seen vacant houses be robbed of their appliances.
Hoarders.
And we've seen them be, hoarders, not hoarders, squatters.
Squatters.
Squatters and things like that, but it'd be a little harder to squat in a situation like that. But the protection of the property, you know, and I just, that to me, it's yet to be seen. We'll have to wait for reports to come out on that. But to me, it's like you don't even know who you're letting into the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know?
See,
Well,
with the virtual everything that Sekou is talking about, I just thought I'd throw that in as a as a bump in the road in our conversation, just to see what you guys thought about it, because it's something that I've been reading a lot about. I just wanted to bring it up. What do you think, David?
Well, here's my thing. I think first of all, for everybody listening that's been in the biz for, some time prior to maybe some of this virtual world, and some of this stuff starts to become a little bit more challenging, a little bit more daunting, a little bit more scary to even think, oh my God, I didn't have to do business like that before. How am I going to adapt?
Right.
I'm going to go on two fronts there. One, I'm going to say it's time to adapt. Retail and to Sekou's point, video stores and travel agents and all that stuff, taxis got smashed by technology. Everybody that multiplied by about 100 when COVID hit, because when we looked at the fact that we've now had the option prior to COVID to go, I'm either going to go online and purchase, or I'm going to go to the store to purchase. I'm going to make a decision based on what's good for me.
Right.
COVID forced us into you can't go to the store. You better figure out how to do this. And it also said to the big retail chains, hey, you might have got hit by Amazon. You didn't even see this coming. I hope Amazon was like a precursor to this whole thing, because you better be ready. And for those retail companies that didn't adapt, they're going to fade very quickly, shortly. Let's put it that way, right? Now, take that into our business here and say to the agent who's been doing this for some time, if you do not adapt and you do not take the time to figure out how to integrate some of these virtual tours and some of this other technology that's there, you're going to be phased out quickly because of some of the limitations imposed in society today, which again, we can talk about whether we agree, we don't agree, another conversation. At the same time, I believe that the old school way of doing business will never die. No. Okay. Now it's up to the industry to remain relevant. It's up to the industry, and that's each person individually, to prove your value, to get out there and prove why somebody should be working with you rather than with a robot or doing it through technology. So if you want to save your own, Canadian term, your own bacon, make sure that you're out there doing what you're supposed to be doing. Yeah. So now what it comes down to is taking a blend between the old and the new. And because I also think this, Sekou, and to everybody, and the new agent that's listening to this, if you think this entire business is going to be done through just this thing, you're going to lose out.
Yeah.
Right. So now it's where's that I don't even want to call it gray area, because to me it's completely black and white right here. Right. Yeah. It is like you've got to take a mix of hey, this is a people business. It's a relationship business. It's a trust business. It is the biggest asset of my entire life. And you've got to understand that you got to be there for me, because like we talked about, if it ain't the right deal now, and agent allowed me to spend X amount of money more and waive all my conditions, and I end up, putting myself up, at some point I'm going to realize that I'm not coming back to that agent.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's that thing of how are you going to integrate the technology, but keep the people business in place? And our industry has a better chance of survival. And I don't want to use the term without technology, but we got a much better chance of survival as long as we can continue to do the personal touch points. Mm-hmm. So it's a mix of, again,
absolutely,
can I integrate these technologies, but can I still remain old school? So old schoolers, my advice to you, integrate technology. Do not let it take over your world. Keep doing what you were doing. Mm-hmm. New schoolers, your tech, wonderful. Go learn from the old schoolers a little bit. Understand what it really means to go and build a relationship and make the phone calls and build the trust, because that's the gold right there, no matter what.
So one of my banners along with that is you need to be able to work with those that are high tech, low tech, and no tech. In other words,
you've got to be. It's a people business. That is the constant in this industry. It is a people business.
Well, what I say, David, is that the agent that is not ambitious enough to do is going to lose out to the agent that learns how to do with.
That's correct.
Right. So you get the agents that are like, oh, let the robots do it. Let create a CMA for me, open the door for me, so I could sit in my house and just collect the money. That agent is dying. That agent is giving the business to the robots. Whereas the agent that's like, how do I use this technology to do more?
Right.
Right. I'm sorry, Cheryl, because I interrupted you. You were going to say something.
Oh, I was just going to add on, and I guess maybe I might even just be paraphrasing, what David said. I look at all these things, and at heart, I'm a very traditionalist. I'm a pick up the phone type of girl. I love to be face to face. I want to touch my. Well,
So I say the same thing all the time. I get in trouble for it.
I want to touch.
This is a family show, guys.
Sorry
I
about
say it
that.
all the time. How many
I just
times
want to
can I
reach
touch?
out and touch somebody. But I think like when I think of all of these technologies, they're great tools. But for my business, what I like to look at them as is that I have a foundation of what I want as far as my business model, my business plan, and what I'm building that on. And all these new tools that have come in, even in the last 6 months, the last 12 months, I use that. Those are like cherries on top.
Yeah.
Every day, every client that I interact with is going to get a certain amount of everything is the same. David asked a question on Mindshare the other day. He's like, what are you doing to build your business going forward? And my answer was consistency. No matter whether you see me in public or whether you see me in a business front, every person is going to get the same thing. I do not waver in how I conduct my business and how I conduct myself in private. Like, I'm just, who I am. It's like, okay, that's Cheryl. But so I take that, and that's my foundation. And then I build it based on you do it based on what the client is. So if I have a really young high-tech couple, well, then you throw all the tech at them because that's their language, right? If I have a retired couple who maybe hasn't caught up to that, or maybe is still in the dark ages, well, then you apply that personal one-on-one front, face-to-face touch, and you just adapt through it. So I appreciate what you're saying, Sekou, that like if you just go all tech, you're gonna lose people. If you stay in the dark ages, you're going to lose people. And use them as enhancements.
Yes.
So we talked about enhancements. I went way off the edge with the real new thing. What are the trends we're going to see in this next 6 to 12 months in two ways? Number one, what's the market going to be like in 6 to 12 months? And are we going to see any interrupters? Now, preface that question with one thing. I remember talking to Tom Ferry. Tom says, I talked to a lot of people in the tech industry. He says, Dave, there are no, I froze there. We all froze.
No, you got it. You're still going.
What Tom said was there are no technological disruptors in the industry. My opinion on all of that, and that was in, I think that was in March we talked, right before COVID. Yep. And what happened is the disruptor is COVID. Disruptor is the way of life, right? That's our disruptor. So that's my preface to the question. What are we going to see in the market in the next 6 to 12 months? And what trends are we going to see as far as tools or what we're going to be doing? And I think we answered that question, but I want to go forward with that.
Can I run first really quick? Because I got to get off at noon.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the DNC, the convention, and how they handled the convention and how they did the speeches and how they did things. They did a hybrid of this digital market where I'm just projecting out to the world the way that TV was, and a town hall fireside chat where people can interact virtually. Yep. What does that do? That gives me, the average Joe, the opportunity to talk to a president or a vice president face to face on a Wednesday night. Yep. Right? It gives me, the average Joe, a greater voice in the industry. So where the trend that I think is going to come, that is going to disrupt, it will be when I meet with David Greenspan in Canada and have my buyer on at the same time and have my title person on at the same time and my lender on at the same time, when we are digitally walking through a property, maybe even have a contractor on at the same time, when we are digitally walking through the property, have the inspector on at the same time, when we are digitally walking through a property, and we can have a full holistic conversation in 15 minutes, whereas that would take normally 5 to 7 weeks in order to get all of those people through there. Right. I think that if the market continues the way it is, and I believe it is going to continue in this way, we will be fully digital and interactive. We will be interactive the way people are, and we will start adding in these functions. And if we can't adjust to that, we're going to lose to the people who do.
Great. Hopefully, Rebecca.
Okay.
I love you guys. I got to run.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Later, buddy. Good to see you, my man.
I'll see you soon, guys.
Answer will be done. Won't be long, guys.
Yes. So
wrap this up with this question, okay?
Okay, so I say, you know, if there's a silver lining, and certainly Sekou touched on that, is that how you could get so many different people in one virtual meeting and be able to accomplish it. But to me, the world just got a little smaller. Think about this. We've got two people from Canada. Dave, I'm sorry, you're in New Jersey?
Yeah.
And we're in Florida. And what an amazing thing that we can connect this way. And I already feel like I've got friends here. I feel like I know you, and I get to see your faces, your expressions, your personalities. And I've done this with several other groups. And so now all of a sudden my network just grew and got bigger. And I get really excited about that because we always had this technology before. COVID made us step up our game. So I think what we're going to start seeing is people stepping up maybe their virtual open house tours. We have more reach than we ever had before. If you did a traditional open house, you're really throwing it out to the nearby community, waiting for foot traffic to come in through those doors. And you would, feel lucky if you had 20 people come through, right? But if you are doing a virtual open tour, you have virtually so much more chances of getting more exposure for that same property to have an international buyer come in and say, I'm going to pay cash for that house, sight unseen, because they do buy it that way. And I mean, I already saw it in the open house. I loved it. I've had people who were in New York and said, Mom, I have moms in Florida. I just saw this house come on the market. They're doing an open house. Run. And get there right before we've closed our open house because their child told them, of course, adult child, they saw a house that they want to buy. And so that's a true story. I mean, like, that is so powerful. So I think COVID has made us step up our game in that way. And I'm really thankful for these opportunities where we get to meet with great people like you and so many others. And we get to connect and be able to continue doing business. And it just gives us that upper hand, I would say.
So,
And the second part of that question, where do I see the market going? I'll be honest with you, that I see it going in the sense that we're working with a lot of investors from New York right now that prior to COVID, I mean, you know this, David, prior to COVID, there were a lot of changes that were happening in New York when it came to the tenant landlord act, especially with this tenant control right now. Right. So we have a lot of investors that were calling us and saying, hey, we're about to sell our building. Get ready, because we're going for 4, 5, 6 properties down there. And I see it happening a lot quicker now, David, than what they thought it was going to happen because of this COVID.
Yep. So you see a lot of movement. And quickly, Cheryl, what are your thoughts on those two questions?
So I look at COVID, whenever life brings you a challenge, you have a choice to do two things. You have a choice to roll with it, or you have a choice to retract from it. In COVID, for the conscientious realtor or the maybe the more aware realtor, COVID was a line in the sand. And if you leaned into that and you took advantage of the time that you had while we were locked down, there was a lot of questions about that. What are we going to do in all this time? Oh my goodness, our market. David and I talked about this, and I repeated myself and repeated myself and repeated myself. Pick up the damn phone. Right. Call your people. If you can't be showing them, you need to be talking to them. Right. And that made the difference between personally, for me, it was the difference between the realtor who picked up the phone when they couldn't be showing, who sent those emails, sent those messages, let their clients know they were still interested. So COVID has acted as a line in the sand. You either rolled with it and you took advantage of it and you made it into something awesome and amazing and you adapted. You got into things like it threw us into Zoom calls. It threw us into virtual open houses. It threw us into all these amazing technologies. And, and as far as the future goes, what's going to happen? I think COVID is going to be with us for a little while, especially as we see we come into the fall with school. I think we're still going to see some changes as far as, what level of security we're at, where people are going to be. I think there's an opportunity to do amazing things in real estate if you move with it.
David?
I'm going to keep it short and sweet on this and say I agree with everybody's feedback on that. And I'm going to say the same thing I've been saying prior to COVID. I've been saying this for years, and I've been asked this question many, many times from big stages and keynotes and roundtables and at conferences and stuff. And what's the big disruptor? It's you.
That's right.
It's you as
Amen.
people. That's
Amen.
it. Okay. You can choose to adapt. You can choose to hide out. You can choose not to. You can choose to let things take over. It's up to you. You can choose to hang your head in a multiple offer situation that you didn't win and walk out of there all pissed off. Or, like Cheryl said, you got a choice. You can choose to get your chin up. Make sure it's a good experience for you, a good experience for everybody around you. Put your best foot forward, build some positive mind share, and set yourself up for the next opportunity tomorrow.
Amen.
Right? So
100%.
with all that, where are we going? We're going to continue going. The sun's coming up tomorrow, guys, period. Who knows what's going to happen? The bottom line is if you can remain relevant, get out there and build those relationships, keep building the trust with people, you're going to win more, and you're going to surpass everybody that's behind you, period.
Yep.
Thank you, David. I want to go through three quick things that I want to add to everything. I just want everybody to know that this virtual stuff, I've actually been teaching for more than 5 years. I couldn't get a lot of people to buy in. Now everybody wants to know. What Sekou was talking about, having that meeting with your buyer, your title, your mortgage, your attorney to walk through, doing it, right? So, but people now get it. They have to do it. Number two, the market. In my opinion, we haven't had a normal market since September 10th, 2001, right?
Oh.
That's the last time we had normal, right? Everything has changed. I believe, honestly, the market itself, in 12 to 24 months, we're going to see something that's close to normal because everything's going to stabilize. Everything's going to settle down. The dust is going to settle. Last thing I want to say before I go with my exit speech is this. There's something called the Stockdale paradox. David Stockdale was an admiral in the Navy in Vietnam. He was a prisoner of war for 7 years. And he said, who didn't make it out of the POW camps? He said, the optimists. Why? Because they kept saying, oh, we'll be out by Thanksgiving. We'll be out by Christmas. We'll be out by Easter. Those dates came and gone. And they couldn't make it because they didn't have the mindset. The people that made it in the Stockdale paradox is this. You work with what you've got in front of you today. Yep. And you deal with everything you've got to deal with. Like getting your, pick your chin up, tie your shoes and get rolling again. This is the shit we've got to do. And we've got to be movers and shakers. And everybody on this broadcast today are some of the best examples I have seen over the years as what it was, what it is, and what it will be. I want to personally thank all you guys for coming on today. And as Cheryl knows and David knows, and the Sotos now know, that's the only reason they came on is because they're going to get a hat because they came on the show.
I've always got it outside of the studio. I'm like, I got to go run and grab it.
Right. So
I rock it.
The thing is that you guys get a hat. James will get a hat. Sekou's got one. Cheryl's got one, as you can see, and David's got one because they've been on the broadcast before.
David's isn't signed though.
Rebecca, I know. Rebecca and Josue, I hope we can connect soon so I can get you on the show, just you and me.
Excited to get our hat. I didn't even know that was part of the deal. Awesome.
So we'll get together.
He pays us too. Did he tell you? Oh, sorry.
Oh, wow. I'm waiting for my check in the mail.
What are you guys soaring about? Soaring?
If you're a guest for 10 shows in a row, you get a vacation.
I heard that.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun, guys. I honestly appreciate this opportunity to be here with you all.
Well, look, I want to thank you all for coming on, David, Cheryl. Nice to have you guys on. And look, thank you. It was great content. Just stay on for a second as we end the broadcast, and we'll talk real quick. Thank you so much. Next week we have Michael Hellickson coming on thank you.
Oh, well. I know him.
Michael Hellickson. He'll be on. And a little special tribute to him is he was supposed to be on in July, but he came down with COVID. So
He did. He struggled with that.
And now he's doing much better. And Michael Hellickson from Club Wealth will be my guest next week. We're really looking forward to it. Thanks a lot, guys, for coming on, and talk to you real soon.